Dimitri Payet, one of the most naturally gifted and technically complete players to ever represent France. His talent has taken him to the highest levels all across the world, on the biggest stages only others could dream of. However, in over 2 decades of professional football, these highs have been met with soul-crushing lows. So, where do we begin? Well, we start from the beginning. From the age of 8, Dimitri Payet stood out. Being born and raised in Saint-Pierre-Réunion, which is an island in the Indian Ocean governed by France, Dimitri Payet stood out from a young age, being signed by local side JS Saint-Pierrois at the age of 8. And this was pivotal as the club had mutual ties to Ligue 1 side Le Havre, which could provide the opportunity for any budding young talent to make it. Payet continues to improve within the youth ranks before his immense talent led to a youth contract coming his way from Le Havre. However, in spite of this talent, his time at the club was riddled in disrepute. His difficult character and lack of motivation led to him leaving the side at the age of 16. With no clubs waiting in the wings to secure a signature, he was forced to return back to Réunion. In most situations, this would have been a career ender for a young talent. All Payet could do is get his head down back in Réunion and hopefully find his way back into a professional team. And that's exactly what he did, signing with AS Excelsior in the Réunion Premier League. And credit to him, even though he was only just 17 years old, he put on performances that made him one of the most coveted stars out of the island, racking up 12 goals in 36 matches. These performances earned him a shot at the big time once again, this time with Ligue 1 side FC Nantes. However, this was not under superstar treatment. He had been presented with a 2-year amateur deal with the side, which had a clause where after 6 months, had the team not been impressed with his performances on and off the pitch, they could rip up the contract there and then. For all intents and purposes, this was Payet's last chance. His talent was undeniable, but his work ethic had to improve if he was to garner the respect of his peers and coaches. If not, it was back to Réunion for him. Payet realised this and kept his head down, becoming a shining star of the Nantes reserve team. After just a few months, he was called up to the Nantes first team by then manager Serge Ledize, making his debut at the age of 18, and just a month later, scoring his first ever professional goal for Nantes in a 4-1 win against Metz. In the following season, he had become Nantes' focal point of attack, contributing to 25% of Nantes' goals in the league that year. Unfortunately, in spite of his performances, Nantes finished rock bottom of the league, being relegated to the 2nd division. The ability to perform brilliantly in a woeful team led to clubs circling for his signature, with Saint Etienne winning the race, signing the starlet for €4 million. Now this is where Payet's career really took off. Although blanking in his first season in both goals and assists, Payet did not give up, putting on show-stopping displays that had him labelled as one of the most exciting up-and-comers in the league. 25 goals and 32 assists in his next 3 seasons led to Payet being part of the France national team. He would show he's not afraid of the big time, assisting 7 minutes into his debut for France. Interest was now being shown by some of the biggest clubs in the world. Teams such as Liverpool, Napoli, Inter Milan, and even PSG. For someone who'd been released by Le Havre at the age of 16, this was a stark change in fortunes. Payet made his decision in the summer of 2011, signing for defending Ligue 1 champions Lille for €8 million. At this point, Lille were a serious threat in European football. They boasted the likes of Rio Mavuba, Joe Cole, and of course, Eden Hazard. An opportunity to play Champions League football was too attractive an option not to take up, and it proved to be the right choice. In his 2nd season at Lille, Eden Hazard had left, meaning that Dimitri Payet became Lille's main source of attack. This was a fruitful choice, as Payet earned his way into the Ligue 1 team of the season for the very first time, and was reintroduced back to the France national team. He was on the move again to one of France's most famous clubs, Marseille, for €11 million. He continued to be a shining light for the team. However, the appointment of legendary coach Marcel Bielsa would be the most important change in Payet's career. In the following season, he would top assist charts in the league with 17, being selected in the Ligue 1 Team of the Year and being voted Marseille's Player of the Year. He had clicked with Bielsa more than any other manager in his career, claiming that Bielsa had made him more mature and consistent. Even though PSG was standing in the way of Marseille, the improvements in the team had been evident, with dreams of Marseille returning back to glory seeming more realistic. However, at this point, Marseille were in financial disarray. They had recognised to balance the books they had to sell players. Their attempts at selling first team stars such as Florian Thauvin and Gianelli Imbuda had failed, which meant that on the 26th of June 2015, Dimitri Payet made his biggest and most career-defining move yet, joining West Ham United. To be clear, Payet nor Marseille intended on this deal to happen. Rather, the circumstances led to this event. The result? One of the most staggering debut seasons in Premier League history. Just to clarify, when Payet joined West Ham, it wasn't to much fanfare. In that transfer window, there had been hypes with the likes of Anthony Martial joining Manchester United, Kevin De Bruyne signing for Manchester City, and even Xherdan Shaqiri signing for Stoke City. Even his teammates that he was joining at West Ham hadn't really heard much about Dimitri Payet nor about his immense talent and ability. So, Payet done what he had done his entire career up to that point. Let his performances do the talking. In his Premier League debut, he assisted from a long-range free kick in a famous 2-0 win against Arsenal, and just a week later scored his very first goal against Leicester City. He had then gone on a run of 6 goal contributions in 5 matches, before suffering an ankle injury that put him out for 3 months. This derailed the momentum which Payet had built up, but along with every other setback in his career, this would not stop him. On his return back to the starting lineup against Bournemouth, Payet lined up a 25-yard free kick, which he brilliantly curled off the crossbar and in. He chipped in with an assist that match as well, earning a standing ovation in his very first start back. He was shortly rewarded with a brand new bumper contract, extending his deal up to 5.5 years for £125,000 a week. Playing across multiple positions, either in the number 10 role, across the wings, or as a second striker, Payet and West Ham went from strength to strength, racking up wins against Arsenal, Liverpool and Tottenham. The personal exploits hadn't stopped, as his growing reputation as a free kick specialist was on full display. In 2 of the most iconic moments of that season, Payet would go on to score 2 amazing free kick goals that will live on in memory and folklore. The first coming against Crystal Palace in the League, where he stepped up from 20 yards out and struck the ball with devastating top spin and curve, landing in the top far right corner of the net, essentially top bins. He would then follow up this amazing free kick, going to Old Trafford in the FA Cup, stepping up from 35 yards out before curling a beautiful shot off the post and in. These 2 moments went viral, and to this day is replayed as one of the most brilliant acts of creativity and technical ability ever displayed in football. People knew this wasn't luck. This was the ability of a world-class player who hadn't received a shot at a truly world-class team. Payet finished the season brilliantly with 12 goals and 15 assists, contributing to 32% of West Ham's league goals that season, helping them finish 7th place and guaranteeing Europa League qualification. He of course won West Ham's Player of the Year, as well as being selected in the PFA's Team of the Year, and deservedly was selected to represent France at Euro 2016, which was of course being held in France that year, a golden opportunity for Dimitri Payet. He impressed with his national team on the big stage, scoring 3 goals and racking up 2 assists, helping guide them to the final, before unfortunately losing to Portugal after extra time. He was of course, yet again, selected for the team of the tournament, thus cementing his world-class status. At this point, interest in Payet was at an all-time high. Clubs such as Chelsea, Manchester City, PSG and even Real Madrid were reported to be after his services. It seemed only a matter of time before Payet was making the inevitable move to an elite club. Surprisingly, no move materialized. Rather, Payet kicked off the new season with West Ham at their brand new stadium, London Stadium. Although he continued to show flashes of brilliance with a Rabona cross assist, a world-class free kick, or a brilliant solo on goal, the desire seemed to have waned off for Payet to play for West Ham. And this all came to a head, as in January 2017, Dimitri Payet had re-signed with his former club Marseille for £25 million. The move shocked and angered West Ham fans. A move to a huge club had made sense, but a move back to Marseille was seen as a waste, especially with the previous interest in the summer. From Payet's perspective, the move was not fueled by greed. Rather, he personally did not feel well at West Ham and simply just wanted to move back home. The love for the game returned and he would blossom again for Marseille. Becoming their focal point of attack, he had led them to the Europa League final in 2018 against Atletico Madrid. At this point of the season, this was a big deal. Payet had 32 goal contributions in 45 matches leading up to the final that season, making him a near shoo-in for selection for France at that year's 2018 World Cup. Leading out Marseille and winning their first European title since 1993 would make sure to affirm this. However, on the 32nd minute, Dimitri Payet would suffer a devastating hamstring injury, which saw him leave the pitch in tears and crushed any chances of selection for that year's World Cup. In fact, what hurt worse was that Payet didn't find out through Didier Deschamps that he was not going to be selected. Rather, he found out on TV watching with his family. Talk about brutal. France would then go on to win that year's World Cup, a golden opportunity taken from Dimitri Payet's grasp. Despite the setback, in what has become a theme of his career, Dimitri Payet would overcome. He would return back to the pitch and put on iconic performances year on year that saw him at the end of his second stint with Marseille rack up 63 goals and 66 assists in 243 games. In 2023, Marseille and Payet came to the agreement to mutually part ways. At 36, his talent was still sought after. Moves to stay in Ligue or moves to the Saudi Pro League were on the cards. However, surprisingly, Payet rejected these advances and moved to Brazilian side Vasco da Gama, where he continues to perform, chipping in still with an occasional time-stopping free-kick goal, a world-class assist, and technical prowess which has garnered him respect throughout his career. It has been a whirlwind of a career for Dimitri Payet. His career seemed to have ended before it even started, before eventually getting his big break. His unworldly ability earned him the respect and love of many, but a deserved big move to an elite club never materialized. I mean, what's even more surprising is that in his whole career, he never won a single trophy. He did win one in reunion back in 2004, however I'm not sure many would count this. As his career winds down, we're not sure what his next steps will be, but whatever they are, there's one thing for sure, there will only be one Dimitri Payet.